What is happening, YouTube? Um, the Clippers, we lost to the Cleveland Cavaliers on Monday. It was a pretty ugly loss. Um, it was a competitive game. We were doing so good, and we just lost that game. It's all good. Nothing too much of a major issue. Um, of course, you can't win every game. Cavs, they're a pretty good team. Evan Mobley, he returned, so it made it hard for us to compete against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Didn't have any bigs like Zubac. Plumlee, he's a serviceable big, but of course when you got like Mobley, it's hard to really you know um, you know get rebounds and especially score on his defense. So the Cavs defense, they definitely made the Clippers work, but wasn't too mad that we lost the game. Then Paul George, he was out for he got foul trouble as well too. But this game, I think the Clippers bounced back. I know it's the Wizards, but they are a pretty talented team. Just really raw, trying to find things together. Um, they started off hot, kind of like how the Clippers usually do. They kind of start a little bit slow, but then they pick it up, especially in the third quarter. And the Clippers just dominated. It's a pretty fun game to watch. And it's a pretty happy game for me because Brandon Boston Jr., he finally got his shine. And Ty Lue, he seems to kind of like adjusted his ways compared to the previous years. I think this year Ty Lue, occasionally, he's starting to be more willing to try to plug the younger players into rotations. Um, he did that with Kobe Brown in the beginning of the season, the beginning of the year. Still would do it at times. Instead of trying to play PJ Tucker all the time. Um, Compared to how last season, Ty Lue, he kept playing Marcus Morris till the end. Never gave Robert Covington a shot. But this year, Ty Lue changing his ways. Um, when PJ Tucker, he was not serviceable on offensive end. Defense, he was scrappy. He gave people a rough time. I actually like Tucker to an extent, but not him playing minutes. So Ty Lue decided to go Kobe Brown at times, and then he would play pretty solid defense and move the ball well. He's not been doing it lately, but he did it at times, and that's what I like to see. And now he just randomly plugged in Brandon Boston to play some minutes, and I'm pretty happy to see, especially since Paul George is out, so he found it as an opportunity to sneak one of the younger players in. So I was pretty happy to see, and he did do pretty well. So let's start with everybody. Kawhi Leonard, 31 points. He did pretty well. 9 rebounds, 4 assists. Pretty efficient night. 4 steals. He did amazing. Mason Plumlee, 2 for 5. He got 11 boards, uh, 5 points. He was serviceable for today. Of course, defense, is not ideal, but he does the job. Um, James Harden, 25 points, nine rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, 4 blocks. He's stepping it up. He's fitting the role pretty well. Been pretty efficient, 50% from three. He did pretty well. Pretty good game for him. Terrence Mann, he is an athletic plug. Doesn't do too much offensively. 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 6 points. Amir Coffey, he had an amazing game. 5 for 7. Not too much on reboundings or even assists, but got a steal. Pretty good on the offensive end. Amir Coffey, he's been getting a lot of minutes lately. So that's kind of what I mean when I say Ty Lue's actually starting to play the younger players more. You're starting to see Amir Coffey play minutes. Um, if not Kobe Brown's not playing. Um, I know some Clippers fans they want to trade for Dorian Finney-Smith, but I don't really see I don't really see it in Dorian Finney-Smith. I mean, yeah, he's a veteran, and I guess we get him for a team-friendly price. I mean, sure, why not? But I don't see any difference between Amir Coffey and Dorian Finney-Smith because Amir, he hits some threes more often from what I've seen. Um, if anything, maybe going for a Daniel Gafford could be pretty good. I would like him to be our backup big. He's pretty athletic. He's a lob threat. He complements the role with Russell Westbrook pretty well. He's pretty young, so that's what I like to see. Um, and and I think the asking price is not going to be too crazy. Um, it's probably going to be maybe like a second round pick or something, which I'm more than happy to consider. They might ask Bones Highland or now Brandon Boston Jr. I don't feel comfortable including them in a deal. Maybe you could flip one of our role players like in the third team, and then you trade the for draft capital and use some of the draft capital to get Gafford. I don't know. That's a good question. But again, we do have a serviceable big as well too in Daniel Tice, and he's been doing a good job for being an emergency backup big when Plumlee went down. He's been doing his role. 4 points, 2 rebounds, 1 steal, 1 block. Um, Ty's defense is better than Plumlee to an extent at times. Um, he definitely saved the Clippers a lot. Shout out to him. Russell Westbrook, he did pretty well. 7 assists, 3 rebounds, 9 points, and it's good to see him back in DC, where fans adore him and love him. He did pretty well there. Um, Norman Powell, 14 points, 5 for 10. Pretty good with the threes, 7 rebounds, 3 assists. Um, he did his thing. Pretty solid 6 man. Now, elephant in the room in this video. My man, Brandon Boston Jr. Why do I keep telling y'all about him, man? I have never changed my standpoint about him. I'm still a huge fan. I'm still a fan that he's definitely one of my personal untouchables, and you definitely have an idea why. He's a bucket. He makes really tough shots. He can play pretty good defense too, and his game is so fluid. He's so shifty. He could create a shot better than Norman Powell. He's a bucket, and he's more versatile. He's kind of like a Paul George that is coming off the bench. His game is pretty similar to Paul George or a Brandon Ingram. Him and Gigi Jackson are one of my personal favorites. It's like kind of like a tree because I have a tree of many of players that I like, kind of like the Belichick tree and the Shanahan tree. Um, I'm just being hyperbolic. It's kind of like a hyperbole or something like that. So basically, like I do have players I like, and Brandon Boston, um, Gigi Jackson, Jay Scrub. Shout out to Jay Scrub. Sucks that his ACL hasn't been good. Of course, Musa Diabate. To an extent, Bones Highland. I mess with Imani Bates too. But like my main is Brandon Boston and Gigi Jackson and Jay Scrub. And then I mess with Musa heavy too. But those are my guys. Um, I have many others too that I can't think off my head. But man, I'm glad to see one of my guys going off, man. So nice to see him going off. He's just so fluid. And I think if we trade him to another team, you're not going to get much value. And even if you get the value, I still won't feel comfortable trading him because it's going to be another Shai Gilgeous-Alexander situation when he actually gets the shot attempts and then he goes crazy. I would not want to risk that. That's why, like, a hot take, I always prefer to, like, if I had to pick one, like, I don't even know who do you even include. Um, but it'd be like either maybe Amir Coffey or Norman Powell. Um, but even then, they're both gelling into roles so well. So if the Clippers actually don't make any trades at all, I'm actually okay with it because the Clippers are just doing so good. But if you were to have to like make a move, I definitely would try to find someone else, not name Brandon Boston or Bones. Um, I know it's an unpopular opinion still. I know Norm, he is a Southern California guy, so it's a bit hard to move him. But if you got to pick one, I'd probably say him or Coffee because you get the value and you can still like use some of the assets to kind of like get an upgrade. Or like I said, don't even need to do anything. Or there's some players that you could just get for dirt cheap. I heard Jalen McDaniels. He plays for the Raptors, and I don't think he's really getting minutes, but he is a pretty athletic, solid defensive wing that the Clippers can use, and I think you could get him for a really major team friendly price, like probably just a PJ Tucker and like a draft compensation like 1 second round pick. You could probably get that. Um, that's just my personal opinion. Like that'd be a solid move. But that's just one little suggestion. But this Clippers team's looking good, man. But anyways, Wizards. Kyle Kuzma, he did really good tonight. He was a bucket, 27 points, pretty efficient night. 2 rebounds, so it's not that high. He just did all the scoring. Danny Abdia, he did the other things more. Defensively, though, wasn't good. Wasn't the best. 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, 1 block. Um, Daniel Gafford, um, he got 5 blocks. He is a lob threat. Um, and 8 rebounds. He's one of those guys who like to pick it up and then just slam it. So hopefully they're willing to sell him for a really team friendly price. Um, it could be possible because I don't think he would be worth a first round pick. So if we had to trade some seconds, I would definitely allow that. Trey Jones, 2 for 9. He got 2 buckets. He got 7 assists. Tyus Jones, my bad. 7 assists, 4 rebounds. Um, Not the best efficiently, but he ran the point pretty well. Bilal Coulibaly, he's a pretty good slasher. He's a really promising young player. Kind of reminds me of like a bigger Mikal Bridges. I think he's definitely going to be a star as well. 19 points, 4 rebounds, for 2 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks. Really good defender. I think he's a really solid piece for the Wizards. Um, he could definitely be a franchise player. Love his game. Um, Plays it with high IQ. Marvin Bagley Jr. Nice to see that he's doing good. 10 points, 8 rebounds, um, 2 assists. Maybe he could be an option for the Clippers. That would be solid. And Marvin Bagley, he would kind of fit pretty well with Russell Westbrook. Pretty athletic, and definitely an upgrade for Mason Plumlee. Um, you know, and the Clippers, they're good at reviving players' career. Bagley, um, he was picked over Luka, so maybe the Clippers can find a way to get him. Who knows? That'd be solid. Patrick Baldwin Jr., 1 for 6. Not so good offensively, but he got 6 boards. I was kind of high on him too, but unfortunately his career just didn't pan out. I thought him with the Warriors was going to be pretty good, but just didn't pan out. But you never know. He could step it up. Corey Kispert, he had a pretty good scoring night. 16 points, 2 assists, 1 assist. 2 rebounds, 1 assist. DeLon Wright, 2 for 5, 4 points. Didn't do too much. Johnny Davis and Bernard, they did all right. But overall, this was a pretty good game for me. And a pretty good game for the Clippers, obviously. And good game for me because Brandon Boston, he got his shine. And I prefer for the Clippers to try to, like I said, if we were to make a trade, I prefer to make trades that makes rooms for guys like Brandon Boston Jr. to play minutes because I think if Brandon Boston Jr. plays in a rotation consistently, he definitely is going to blossom so well. And I just do not want to move on from him because he is going to be an all-star for sure. And G.G. Jackson is helping my case because when I watched G.G. Jackson play, even before people knew how good he is when he exploded versus the Warriors, um, he had the same struggles with like Brandon Boston Jr. He plays better defense than Brandon Boston Jr. because he has more of the upside and he has more of the athleticism, but same struggles. He would kind of play a little bit scared, kind of be inefficient at times, but once he actually got more consistent minutes, he stepped up. He stepped up, and he's a monster. I think that easily could happen with Brandon Boston, especially since Brandon Boston, one thing that he got over G.G. Jackson is he is more shiftier. So that definitely is definitely going to work for Brandon Boston's favor. So I just think you give him more consistent minutes, which I could see Ty Lue, he's actually starting to put more effort into doing it compared to how he did last year. Like he would try to like plug him in occasionally. I remember like when we played the Celtics and we just lost by so much. But even then, like he tried to give him a shot even when the game was competitive. So that's what I kind of noticed. Um, like a huge improvement from Ty Lue. Anyways, this should end this video, man. And I think trade deadline is coming up soon. So we'll see what the Clippers do. And next game is going to be the Pistons, which should be an easy game. Well, not too easy because you never know. They got Duren and Kate Cunningham, but they are one of the worst teams, so should be another win for us. But anyways, thank y'all so much for tuning in, and peace.